record the interview?
Oh, that's fine with me. Yeah.
All right, perfect. So this is Alex Peters from County Sports Zone. We have Liz here with us, and we have Coach. Now, Coach, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and for everybody watching?
Sure. I mean, how much do you want to know? I could go on forever. Let's see. Married to a teacher, so we're both in this together. I work at Walter Johnson High School as a special ed paraeducator. We have 4 children. 2 of them are adults. So one's still in college, so he's been doing online as well. And then I have 1 high schooler and 1 middle schooler. And I coach varsity softball at Walter Johnson. I also am the assistant women's volleyball coach at Montgomery College. And I've been coaching for about 30 years. You name the sport, and I've probably coached it, some more effectively than others.
Okay, well, thank you. I think that we're going to get into all of that here shortly. But I think the first question that I have to ask, and like I said in the first 2 interviews, I don't really want to ask it, but we kind of have to with what's going on. So can you kind of just tell us what your thoughts are on this pandemic, just in general at first?
Sure. Well, the first reaction is always, I hate it. It's just a terrible situation. I feel very blessed that I am healthy and that my family is healthy. I do have a former player from years back whose father passed to the COVID-19. I just, again, myself blessed, very thankful that I have a job that's paying me, very thankful that my family has been able to avoid it. Um, Prayers go out to those who are struggling and have had to deal with it firsthand. And very thankful for the first responders. I also have several former players who are working currently as nurses. So I'm constantly thinking about them and the stuff that they've had to live through with this. I just pray that we get through this quickly. I know it doesn't feel like it's quickly, but if we can get through it, sometime soon, it'll feel quick compared to some of the other things we've heard.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, have you been in contact with any of either your softball players or the volleyball players?
Yeah. So we've been doing online meetings with the softball team. At first, it started real slow because when it first happened, we were in a scrimmage with Holy Cross, and they were all excited. All the rumors about school ending and, oh, we're going to get a day off, and of course, all we'd complained to all winter, we didn't get any snow days. So, everybody's like, oh, good, we get a little time off, and not thinking that it was going to turn into the rest of the season. We get the announcement while we're in the middle of a scrimmage, So anyway, I let them, for those first 2 weeks, we didn't really contact each other that much at all. It just felt like a little short break, and then spring break will come, and then we'll get back and text here and there, just saying, hey, make sure you're focused and ready to go when we get back. But then it turned into Zoom meetings, which are not my favorite thing in the world. I'm older than I look, but so technology is not my friend, but did the best I can. We had a senior night celebration on Zoom, which is kind of cool. I got a cameo video from one of the Olympic softball players, and they greeted the team and said something to the seniors, and you were going to have an athletics banquet this week for the team, present the new letterman with their letters, which I have here with me. Excuse me. We're going to have one meeting a week, kind of. We've set up a Google Classroom for them to submit things if they want to look at different drills and videos that they want to work on. Just try to stay focused on what's going on. We did also have a banquet with the volleyball team from MC, which is nice because when we ended in the fall, the only other time we'll see these girls before they move on for a lot of them would be the banquet. So we're kind of looking forward to the banquet. And then, of course, they canceled it. So we did it online. So I got to talk to them again, which is nice.
Nice. That's awesome. I mean, I think that any sort of contact with your players is better than no contact at all. And that's the trend that Liz and I have been seeing from all the coaches that we've been speaking with. So With that being said, I know you talked a lot about Zoom meetings and once a week. Have the coaching staff been able to keep the players motivated? I know we're not going to be coming back for a spring softball season, but with that being said, is has it been tough to keep them motivated?
Yeah, I mean, it's been rough because the school itself, having to go to school online, has been really stressful. So me and my assistants, who are great, Mark and Abby, they've been helping me, and Gabby, my JV coach, we've all been trying to just reach out to them, keep them focused on school and health and mental health, and softball is kind of secondary at this point. I have to shout out to my seniors because they know they'll never play again. Kira, Catherine, and Amy, uh, but they come on the Zoom meetings. They support the team. They are encouraging. We have a good group of juniors, which is nice because then I know that I have a solid core to come back to. But they, knowing that, like I said, knowing they'll never play at Walter Johnson again, they've been there for every meeting and they've supported their teammates and stepped up. So it's really been helpful to me that to have that kind of leadership from the players and from my assistants.
Mhm.
Because they're more comfortable with technology than I am. So
Have you talked to those seniors, like, specifically about that time, how difficult it is for them, or have you reached out to them separately from the rest of the team?
well, yeah, they're like my ones that I connect with the most because they are my captains and they are my seniors. So I made sure, from the beginning when this all started, to stay in touch with them specifically. They handle a lot of the communication with the rest of the team. We got spiritware, which is weird because we don't really need it, but it did finally come in and it was delivered to my senior's house. So she'd be like putting it on her porch so people could drive by and pick it up, and all these weird kind of things. We also ordered shirts that's the undefeated season, which a lot of teams are doing.
There you go.
I'm still waiting for those to show up, but when they get here, I'm gonna probably pass them on to my senior captains and let them kind of handle the distribution and that kind of stuff. So yeah, definitely been in touch with them. They're not going to go on and play in college unless one of them might walk on, but they're definitely focused more on getting through this and moving on to the next chapter of their lives, hoping that they get to go in the fall and they don't have to like do it online.
Yeah, that would be tough, especially as starting as a freshman to start as online students is going to be tough. So we're hoping that
Yeah.
that's not the case. I do have sort of a tough question, and it's really, I'm going to be honest, it's an unfair question. However, I want to preface it by saying I just wanted to get some different perspectives from coaches on this. So, with that being said, if we put you in charge of handling coming back to school and starting up all sports again, do you have maybe a plan or any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, that is pretty unfair. So,
Like,
uh, uh,
we just wanted to get some different perspectives, and
right.
maybe we hear an idea or somebody sees an idea, and next thing we know, that's what we end up doing.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna do the best I can to stay neutral as far as like controversy, because I feel like this country, that's all it is you're on one side or the other. I think we need to find that safe, happy medium somewhere in between. Uh, as a parent of two kids who are in high school and middle school, uh, I, they want the extracurriculars. I mean, everybody does, and I certainly want to go back. I want to coach volleyball in the fall. We just came off winning the region. We went to nationals. We want to kind of build on that. There is a fear of it not happening. Um, but as that parent who lives with these kids, I think the focus has got to be getting them back to school somehow, some way.
Hmm.
Uh, as normal as possible. I don't think there is a normal anymore. I think that's out the window. Um, I've heard several of the recommendations of, because I work for the school system and I see all the options and rotating kids in half of one day and half the other day and all that stuff. I'm going to go with what the county decides, but I'll tell you, getting them physically on the school grounds would be my number one priority. Whether you can do it with sports and extracurriculars or not, I really just believe that they need to have that interaction with their classmates, whether it be all of them or just some of them. I know, like I personally think cross country could definitely happen. You know, you get. I mean, I when I run, I'm definitely socially distanced because I can't keep up with everybody else. But you know, outdoors is safer and they can space themselves out and that kind of stuff. So I think there's a way to have some stuff.
Mm.
I'm just not sure what they're going to decide on the other stuff. But number one goal, get them in the building somehow, some way, and let them feel somewhat normal with their friends around, teachers in the room, and that kind of stuff.
And I think that's important, especially for students, and if we're just talking about high school students in general, we're talking ages 14 to 18. Um,
Right.
Getting them back into an environment they're comfortable in is just positive energy in their lives. They're not stuck at home. Mom, dad not bugging them to do chores all day and stuff like that, and it creates more structure to their lives.
Right. I know. I mean, my junior doesn't even. She does. I mean, she's a straight A student. You know, taking AP tests. She hates that. It's online, and she works really hard. And she's already said, if we don't go physically back to school, I'm just not gonna. I'm just gonna homeschool, and I'm not gonna homeschool her. But she thinks she's just gonna homeschool, and not because it's to them they have to have that interaction, and they really want the extracurriculars. So we're going to have to be creative. We're going to have to figure out a way to bring it back slowly and safely.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing is safety. We have to be safe. Bringing, I agree 100% with what you're saying. I think that the biggest thing is starting school back up, whether it's with extracurriculars or not. I think that will make a world of a difference for each and every high school student. So,
Right. And I know the staff wants to, even though we're higher risk and all that stuff, everybody I work with wants to be with the kids. They want to be in the building. They want to see them. I mean, they want to interact with them. That's why we do it. We don't teach because we want to collect a giant paycheck. You know, we teach because we like working with the youth and helping them, move on in their lives and get better in different, all different ways, not just academically, but
mhm.
all
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. But
creating better people for the world.
right, right.
So, my next question. Now we're going to get more into the fun stuff. At least what I think is more. So, we wanted to know, what type of coach are you? So this could be, what are some of your philosophies in coaching? Maybe some stuff that you preach to your players, different things of that nature.
Okay, well, I think I would be defined as a player's coach. I think they use that as a term. I rely a lot on relationships. You see, I talk a lot. All of my teams know this about me. I can ramble with the best of them. They'll put their hands in while I'm talking. They're like, "Let's go, coach. We gotta go. Got homework." So I love the relationships. I've definitely changed. I started coaching when I was about 18 or 19, and I used to throw my tie and kick dirt and do everything else. I was a wrestling coach early on, and I would yell and argue and get in trouble with the referees and that kind of stuff. Uh, Coaching girls has helped. They keep me a little calmer. So um, philosophies, I preach a lot of commitment, dedication, uh, but being team first. Focus on what you can do to make the team better and not necessarily yourself. That kind of stuff. I love developing leaders. I like taking kids who may not necessarily think of themselves as someone who can lead and kind of bringing it out of them, that kind of stuff. I have a player right now who I'm kind of working on, and physically everything's there. They're a great player, quiet, so we want to bring it out of them, make them a little. You don't have to be loud to be a leader, but to demonstrate, show positivity, that kind of stuff. Um, I don't like to say this too much out loud, but I feel like winning isn't everything. Like as far as score, being on top every time. I think you have to define winning differently sometimes. I consider winning as improvement and getting better, bettering yourself in life. You're not always going to have as much talent as the team you're playing. Not every team can have state championship caliber players, but every team can succeed and win in some way. I took over this program just a year and a half ago or so. They hadn't really won much. They have now turned their philosophy around. They have confidence themselves, and they think they can win. They support each other. Uh, they're just more of a unit than they were when I first got there, and they care about each other. So they've already won. I mean, the way they reacted with this situation, they won. I mean, they I'm sure behind the scenes they struggled maybe more than I saw, but they really stepped up and supported each other, and looked to what's important. What's important is we got memories. You don't want to look back and remember this one, but you will. But you have other memories from just the 2.5 weeks that we had before it shut down. They bonded and they had a chance to kind of do a few things, and they'll remember that, and they'll be able to look back. So I guess I don't know. We started with philosophies. I guess that's kind of how I roll. It's all relational. It's all about self improvement, being a part of something. I mean, team sports are so important.
Well, I think what I really like that you said there is, and it's like you said, you don't want to say it or you don't like to say it out loud very often. However, I think it's important that we, kind of touch on it. I think your thought or your philosophy on you don't have to win on the scoreboard to win. I think
Right.
that's super important, and especially when we're talking about in the high school realm, if we'll take your softball girls. If they can improve from from one day to the next, whether you guys lose 10-0 or you win 10-0, if you're constantly improving, you're not only making better athletes but making better people, and
Right.
that's what we like to hear. And
Right on.
a lot of people get bogged down on wins and losses, but you know I'm a baseball guy, so I have a baseball background, and baseball is a game of failure just like softball is. So learning to learn from those failures is how you become better, and you can win even though you lose.
Right. And if you define yourself on win loss record, unfortunately, it's not always going to be great. I mean, and I don't know how familiar you are. I'm sure you're familiar with Montgomery County, big county. There are certain schools that are blessed with talent. I
Yeah.
mean, they just have it, and it's rotational. It's not always the same schools. I've been in this county my whole life. I grew up in this county. Um, at times, when my wife went to Sherwood, so they weren't very good in volleyball when she went there, but they are now. And they're good at everything, and they're so it's that kind of thing. Uh, Walter Johnson wasn't always good at football, but it's turning around. But like I said, win loss record is not necessarily the way you measure. It's building people into better humans. When
Yeah.
you get to be a professional athlete, then you measure it on wins and losses because that's your job.
Yeah. That's what you get paid for,
Right.
to perform on the field and win. So
Correct. Yeah.
now, with that being said, can you kind of talk to us? And again, we can do, we can focus on softball, we can focus on volleyball, we can focus on either, really. But can you maybe tell us a couple of your favorite drills or things to do at practice?
Sure. I mean, most of my players would probably say I'm boring, and yeah, it's not always that fun. I definitely believe in repetition. I think it can be boring, but I think the fundamentals have to be mastered through repetition, muscle memory, that kind of stuff. So we do a lot of that, but what they enjoy the most and I enjoy the most is whenever you add a little bit of competition in there. We have one drill that we use a lot that's just grounders, and if they bobble it, they're out. So, they feel the pressure, and it's usually different people win each time. There's different varying elements you can use in it. You can uh, put a different colored jersey than someone who won the previous day, and or you can give points. I've tried point systems before. Sometimes it, depending on the team, sometimes it works and sometimes they don't really care. But just doing competition. Volleyball does the same thing. You'll do like a peppering back and forth kind of challenge where until you mess up, you're in. So you just keep going until they call it juggling. They do it in soccer as well, and that kind of stuff. So basically, the best drills are the ones where they get to compete a little bit, and you make them change partners. You make them do with different people each time. They learn to like each other even if they don't necessarily like them in the beginning. They give them something to fight for together, and it adds a fun little challenge to it. So we like to try to develop different drills that assign points or give them some kind of prize or whatever it is. Sometimes it's just a friendly challenge. Whatever it is, it gives them a chance to compete. We don't always do it with like sprinting and that kind of stuff because some are just faster than others. But we try to change the element of skill each time so everybody has a chance to kind of win.
Yeah, I know. I know. My favorite practices were ones where we competed. It's exactly what you're saying. Competition breeds the best, right?
Right. When you don't realize you're practicing, but you are, those are the kind of the most successful practices.
What are some of the differences you've noticed between coaching high school versus coaching college?
Well, it's not a lot of different because number one, because it's a junior college, so they're only a year apart. Uh, but the I guess the biggest issue is number one. Now it's a junior college, so it's only 2 years, so you only get them for 2 years, and you don't get to develop them like you would with a JV program. The competition is a lot harder. It's a lot more varied, I think, and we travel more because it's community college and there's not 25 schools in the county where you can go to. It's you have to go to other states and that kind of stuff. Um, but I found, I mean, the kids, they're still, I mean, I still call them kids. They're young adults. They're similar. They do expect more, I think, when they get to the college level. They expect it to be a higher caliber of practice and competition and intensity than they would sometimes on a varsity or even a JV level in high school. They're there just because their friends are there or they want to hang out or they just want something to do. But for the most part, if you're playing college, you're serious about it. That's what you want to do. Uh, Again, and we recruit as well because we're a Division II junior college. So, but it's almost impossible to recruit to a junior college because, especially Montgomery County, Montgomery County, they don't want to go to Montgomery College because they're too good for that, or they already have the money and that kind of stuff. But I try to convince them all the time, just save some money, come play for us because we need some good talent. But overall, it's the same. It's the same to me. It's all about again that getting better at being a person, taking the skills you learn in a team sport and being able to transfer it into an occupation or career when you move beyond sports.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? 99% of us aren't going to play professional athletics. You're not going to use that as your job. You're going to use the skills you learn from being in a classroom or on a team to advance yourself in your career.
Absolutely. So, Coach, I'm making you a mad scientist. Okay. So
Not a stretch for me. Not a stretch.
putting you in a laboratory, and I need you to create your ideal type of player. It can be physical attributes. It can be characteristics like leadership, being able to motivate, things like that. Your Dr. Frankenstein. What's the player look like?
Well, the first thing is what speed and power and fast, and you always think of the physical stuff first. Like I wish I had this kid who could. I always go with pitching. Pitching. Throw 60 miles an hour. You make me a great coach if you come in. You can already do that because you're going to strike a lot of girls out. But for me, as you've probably already heard, it's character that makes the ideal player. I don't care if you're the biggest, the strongest, the fastest. I just care that you try the hardest and that you put the team first and that you're always there and you're committed. Everybody, 100% all the time. I like someone who's coachable. I'm very open. Kids come to me and they can tell me, "Hey, we've been doing this drill for an hour. Can you just, switch it up or something?" And I do that. I get stuck in ruts. We all do. Uh, I like that, like I said, the kids that can be talked to, be reached, reasoned with, and I think they enjoy the fact that I listen to them, and I like that kind of feedback. So if I were in that lab, you know, I guess if I was the mad scientist, could have all of it, it'd be great. The kid that can run fast and throw hard and all that stuff. But most importantly, the kid who's gonna be coachable, support their teammates, build them up, that kind of stuff. Just like those three seniors I had this year. They're not the best, strongest, fastest, quickest, all that stuff, and they know it. They know they're limited at times. Their skills are great, perfect for me. One of them's a pitcher, one of them's a good fielder, one of them's fast. One of them do whatever you want them to do. But it's that character. It's that, hey, what do you want me to do, coach? Hey, I'm never going to play again, coach, but let me get on this Zoom call and support the team for the future.
Yeah, exactly. It builds a culture that you, like you talked about. You've only been in the softball program for a year and a half, 2 years now, but
Right.
you're building that culture of winning and really building team chemistry.
Right. And that attracts more people. That attracts kids to want to play for you rather than good athletes shying away from softball because, oh, well, I've never played softball before. Doesn't matter. We'll teach you that stuff. Be a good athlete, be a good person, come out and we'll show you how to do it and we'll make a good team.
Exactly. So the last question I have for you, I don't know about Liz, but the last question I have is, have you been able to use quarantine to improve yourself? So whether it's improving your coaching or just improving yourself in general.
Oh, I could start with a joke. Yeah, I've been able to sleep in a little bit, so that improves me physically. And I tried running, that didn't work. Now my knee hurts all the time. Uh, but I've been getting offered a lot of these free leadership kind of clinics.
Hmm.
Um, a guy I know, former parent, he runs a promotion place. What's Up Promotions, I think it's called, and he's been sending out links to like free seminars for leadership, and they're not always athletically minded, but they're leadership minded. And I don't remember the guy's name. I have it here somewhere, but I think it was Kevin Brown or something. He's an author, and it was called like The Hero Effect. This book, and he just I listened to. I mean, I didn't pay anything. I just got to go in and listen. And he had the kind of similar philosophy that I did. That kind of stuff about how to be a good person and that kind of stuff. So I got to listen to that. I got to listen to Glazier Clinics is another one that's from our supplier, BSN, who does a lot of the county supplying. They sent out emails about clinics, and I get them from my athletic director. They did one for captains, like team leaders, and coaches were invited, and I got to go listen to that. And there was a phenomenal story from a former football player who got in a car accident after he got, he was being recruited and that kind of stuff. Then he got in a car accident, ended up in a wheelchair, and just showed this whole story about how he went to tryouts anyway, and he did everything he could in his chair, sprinting in the chair, getting out of the chair and doing push-ups, that kind of stuff. Just those kind of stories, and I think it's helping me, listening to other people's stories and how they've endured through things. I'm going to continue to look for those kind of things. Obviously, the meetings that we're having are helping me become a better coach. This is something that I don't even know I don't even want to tell you how many years it's been. But I have never had to deal with this before. There's been other things, there's been other issues, and other things have come up, but this is unique. This is something different than I've never had an entire season canceled. So
Hopefully it doesn't happen again.
let's hope. I mean, I've been around a while, and this is the first time. So I'm hoping the next time it happens is at least another, 100 years since the Spanish flu or whatever it was. So let's hope for another 100 years.
That'll be fine by me.
Right, right. We can all be gone and not have to worry about it.
Oh well, Coach Liz, do you have any final thoughts?
I do kind of have just a fun question. I don't know if you could answer it, but you said you coached every sport possible. So do you have a favorite sport or a favorite team you've had?
Oh man, so you don't put me on the spot because the softball players will watch this. So, so the story goes, I played baseball like Alex, and I wrestled in high school. When I got out, I started by coaching wrestling for my alma mater, where I went to high school, Rich Montgomery, and I started there. And then I moved to a private school, and I started coaching girls middle school softball. You know, that's a challenge. That's fun, and middle school basketball, which is also fun. Um, Oh, geez, I can't. Let's see. I haven't. Let's see. I'd have to say my favorite. I think is volleyball because it's a weird story. When I entered Montgomery County, coming from the private school, I was looking for softball coaching jobs because that's what I had been coaching for 9 years at the private school. Couldn't find one, oddly enough, but I think I waited too long to look, and I landed co-ed volleyball at Rockville High School. I knew nothing. You know, I was just I've played it in the backyard, whatever, but I knew nothing. And what makes it my favorite is number one, it's indoor. So like I don't have to worry about weather and taking care of field, which is really a pain. And number two, it's just so intricate compared to what you think. You know, everybody knows baseball and softball are strategic. Basketball has plays, that kind of stuff. If you look at a volleyball game, a lot of times you think, oh, you just got to get it over to the other side of the net. And that's wherever whoever has it bounced, then they lose the point. There is so much detail into that. There's so many. There's specialized positions. There's plays. There's all these things that you wouldn't expect, and and it surprised me. As far as favorite teams, they're all my favorite. I mean, that's the generic answer everybody's gonna say. Um,
But each team's unique, so you kind of can't.
right. The volleyball has been very successful since I've been there. It has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the talent the head coach is great. The talent we've gotten has been great. You know, it's all a lot of times it's about the talent. Um, I like that's the softball group I'm with now because of there's a story there. I started out as the JV coach when these girls who will be seniors next year were freshmen, and it was a great group. I got to take over varsity halfway through that season because of some struggles, and I've been able to kind of filter through the time with this group of girls like the whole time. So it's rare where you get to go with JV group and then also get them again as varsity. So right now they're my favorites. I mean, if it wasn't for the taking care of the field and the weather, softball would be up there with volleyball. Would be able to compete. But as far as a group, this is a good group. I was really looking forward to this year. Unfortunately, there were other plans there. I'm just looking forward to next year. Next year is this is a solid group of juniors. There's 7 or 8 of them who will all be back, and they've been working hard for 4 years. Let's just hope we get to experience it and see how it goes. But they're a good group. I really enjoyed them. I will be sad to see them go. So what did you play?
I played field hockey.
Field hockey. That's another good one. My daughter played field hockey. She started her junior year, and I'm glad I don't coach field hockey. There's a lot of rules, a lot of whistles.
Yes.
I don't know ever what's going on there. So, but
Uh,
yeah, that's it.
for people who don't know, for somebody who's watching this who's never watched a field hockey game, I covered one when I started at County Sports Zone. Just a short little story. I covered one for the first time, and I had friends when I was in high school who were on the field hockey team, you know, whatever, but never went to a game. I was surprised on how many whistles there were, and I was like, half the time I didn't know why they were calling a whistle. I knew one rule going in that you could only hit it with the one side of the.
Yep.
That was the only rule I knew. And I was like, the goalie can kick the ball whenever they want. And I was like,
Yeah, and they call it a corner kick, but it's not in the corner. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not even a kick. I don't even know what's going on. I I I could probably coach it. It would take a while. Um, watch it, but going from volleyball and softball that kind of stuff to my daughter playing field hockey, was an interesting experience. But it's a great sport. You know, it's a lot to it. The girls seem to enjoy it.
Mhm.
Obviously, you did. So, did you go to school around here,
No, I'm from Pennsylvania, actually.
Pennsylvania? Alex, are you around here?
Yeah, so I went to high school in Harford County. I went to Patterson Mill.
Patterson Mill. Okay. So you guys see, I'm in the big country,
Hmm.
Montgomery County. That's a big deal, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, yeah. So no, field hockey is the one I haven't coached. So that one and
Maybe
lacrosse.
maybe one day.
I won't close the door on anything.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. And if you don't have any questions for us, I think we can call it quits.
All right, you guys. Thanks for what you're doing. I know it's been tough with no scores to report. But I think this is going to lead to something. I think this is. I like the interviews.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's the hope. We're hoping that our goal is to talk to as many coaches as possible. And like I said, our hope is that one coach watches it and maybe they pick up a drill that they didn't know about or they want to do at practice, or maybe an idea comes to their head from watching a different interview. But mainly we want students, student athletes and coaches to listen to other coaches talk, and really just I think it's a great source of not only content for us, but it's an opportunity to learn more.
yeah, and I think it's something that you might hold on to even once we get back to so-called normal.
Hmm.
Because I don't know about me. Look, I don't like talking. This is easier than having a camera shoved in my face because I'm just talking to a screen, and you're there, so I can like talk to somebody. But I tell you, coaches and these players, they deserve it. And there's so many good ones out there that I've come across over the years that the story needs to be told. You know, they work very hard for what they do. They don't get paid very well. They do it because they love it. And like I said, the field hockey. I know a guy. I'm gonna get you his name. He converted to coaching field hockey from volleyball, and he loves it. Like it's amazing how well we adjust to a new sport simply because we want to just work with the kids.
Hmm.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, so you guys keep doing what you're doing. Uh, Hopefully, we'll have some scores to report soon.
Yeah, I hope so. But thank you so much, Coach. Take care and have a good rest of the week.
You too. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.